Hey everybody, this is Perch, and as you know by now, hopefully, or I don't know about hopefully, I am away. So unfortunately, no live stream, but I still wanted to connect you with the comics that are coming out next week. In this case, this is July 28th or 27th if you're DC. A lot of comics out. This is an incredibly huge month, so we'll get through it all. But as you probably noticed from the last time I did that, and did this rather, I'm putting more and more focus on indies, and you'll see this kind of trend continue, I think, as we try and expose more of the comics that are out there that are not Marvel or DC. They have their own marketing departments. They know what they're doing. We'll certainly include them. Not gonna downplay them. Just gonna bring up everybody else. So want to continue to talk about that. So let's take a look at the stats. This is an epic week. The last week of July, 137 comics by 38 publishers. That's an absurd amount of comics and a huge amount of publishers. 20 books from Marvel, 17 from DC, 13 from Image, 8 from IDW. Means a lot of the books here are coming from the indies. There are 31 number one issues next week. Massive amount, nearly a quarter. So not quite, but nearly a quarter of all the comics coming out are number one issues. And by miserable, sad contrast, for the first time, the amount of comics that are higher than number 50. Six copies out of 6 comics out of 137 are actually past issue number 50, which is just fucking pathetic. No matter how you look at it. Sorry, I apologize. Sorry, children. I do not need to cut down on the bad language here. Anyway, so let's take a look, though, at what we've got. We're going to start out right here. Good old Aardvark of Vanheim with Unethical Spider-Vark number 1, which, I mean, how do you go wrong there? But anyway, that's a fun little comic. Aftershock has a couple things. Girls of Dimension 13 is actually kind of fun and crazy. It is kind of as you would expect, but it's a fun little book. Warlash Bioburden, number 1 by Asylum. I've heard some decent things about by some of the people involved. Curious about that. And, Ahoy Comics, Second Coming Only by Forgotten Son. Ahoy moving to Lunar distribution. But this Second Coming Only Begotten Son is a book some people have enjoyed, so that's something to take a look at. I have not read Cave Woman Metal Age, number 2 of 2, but well, anyway, there's a little glimpse, I think, of it. It looks like what it is. But let's take a look at our next page. Well, we've got here 7 pages to get through. As you can see, Lady Death representing there. Whoever said... I admit, if you haven't picked up on it by now, part of the narrative has been that U.S. Western comics have gotten puritanical, no breasts, nothing like that. And, everybody's getting flat, drawn like a man, all this kind of stuff. And yes, there's some corners of the comics that are certainly doing that. I'm just giving, if that's something that really bothers you, this is a little bit glass half full, right? There is still content out there. This is a insane amount of comics coming out from Antarctic in the last week. Exciting comics getting relisted there for number 12. But Ninja High School clocking along, one of those comics. How sad is it, by the way, of the 6 comics over 50, 2 of them, Gold Digger and Ninja High School, are over. Those are 2 of the 6 comics coming from Antarctic. Anyway, quite a bit there. Patriotica United, fun little story there. World War III is also fun. AWA Studios, I'm enjoying Chariot. I believe it's by Brian Edward Hill. It's a fun little book. Resistant Uprising is kind of my least favorite of the Uprising shared universe. Still a good book, but it's they've got a lot of good quality content in there, and they're kind of I don't know, is Resistance Uprising the corner of it all? I'm not sure, but anyway. There's stuff there. Cinnamon, Black Mask Studios doing White. Coffin Comics, of course, this is the Lady Death cover you're looking at right here. And I'm very curious what Stud and the Blood Blade means. That sounds like either the most dude comic ever or very weirdly named. But moving along, Boom Studios, you get this 4th issue of Berserker coming out here. That's been a series a lot of people enjoyed. Fun stuff. It is shipping on a regular schedule. That's kind of the other interesting, the big name Keanu Reeves backed project, and it's shipping. Something is Killing the Children, obviously a huge series. Great comic there, number 18. A lot of good content out of Boom next week. Gru meets Tarzan. The old fanboy in me, of course, always loved to see Gru. But Parasomnia was a pretty solid little book. I enjoyed that from Dark Horse. A little bit of a different take, something a little bit unusual there. Over in Dynamite, we have the Sonyversal Sacred Six, Vampirella, George R. R. Martin, A Clash of Kings, number 14, which is officially more books than George R.R. Martin is able to put out overall. But anyway, Fantico, a couple things there. Definitely Screaming Horror #2. Heavy Metal's got some material with Savage Circus. And then Fantagraphics Red Room #3 by Ed Piscor is absolutely, that's a really fun comic there. If you haven't checked that out, I would strongly recommend you go check that out. Good pulp, wonderful book. Ed Piscor won't mention me on his channel, but I'll mention him. It's a good stuff. I'm just kidding. I have no idea if he has or hasn't or would or probably doesn't even know I exist. But anyway, his comic is very good. Red Room. You should go check it out. Over in DC, a lot of comics from DC. Obviously, their Infinite Frontier #3. We've got some continuing with the mystery of the Black Lantern and Roy Harper and everything else. Action Comics telling kind of this new story of Superman. Second issue of Liam Sharp's Reptilian, I liked, and with Garth Ennis. Reptilian is a great little series, only 6 issues. That kind of sucks, but still really good comic. I definitely would recommend looking at that. I have not enjoyed Mr. Miracle like I expected I would. I like Shiloh as a character, and I'm just not loving this limited series, but it is there. The IDW, meanwhile, has a couple of these Marvel Action Avengers. This is kind of the Marvel for kids. And TMNT, Best of Casey Jones, #1. That could be a fun little story. Obviously, we also have another tale from Usagi Yojimbo, sorry, and that's pretty fun too. Heading over, Image. Image has a lot of things, including Sweet Paprika, which is this new book from, oh God, what was the name of that? It was with the animals that I cannot remember the name of it. Anyway, some girly art there, obviously, and not safe for work. Little thing hiding the boobs. So that's good. But Marika Andolfo puts out solid little things. It's a good cover. God, I wish I could remember the previous series. Somebody will tell me in the comments below, but it was it's like undecent or I don't recall. But anyway, this is a fun little series. Department of Truth out again. Crossover is there again. These are titles that have lost a lot of momentum. Crossover and Department of Truth both were huge when they came out, and definitely, same thing with Scumbag as well by Rick Remender. That continues to move along. That Texas Blood is a really solid little series if you aren't reading that. And Vinyl was surprisingly good. I would check that out. Over in Keenspot, Fart Night versus Minecraft. Okay, I think you're pretty much getting what it sounds like when you're hitting that book. A couple other things, Ninjas and Robots, sure. Source Point has quite a bit out, hitting the end of the month. I'm Yuki versus Panda. That is a crazy comic. Good nonsense there. Runes #1 is also pretty good. I think I've seen some preview pages of that. I've heard that's pretty good. Over in Marvel Land, Kari Andrews, Amazing Fantasy #1 of 5. I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to this issue. It looks great. I think very, very excited to see this. Final issue of Beta Ray Bill. That's been a wonderful little limited series. We're heading toward the end of Nick Spencer's run on Amazing Spider-Man. And the Black Knight series also wraps up next week. And that's been a fun little comic. So a handful of things here. There's a resolicitation for Cable. That technically doesn't count to the overall number, but I know that there was some resolicits that happened there. Poor nonstop Spider-Man. And we do get the second issue of the United States of Captain America. So plenty of great material there. Symbiote Spider-Man Crossroads #1. Looking highly forward to that. That's Peter David's Symbiote Spider-Man, not to be confused with the What If series that's being written right now. Symbiote Spider-Man has been a really fun antidote to a lot of other things. Definitely would check that out. Over on Scout Comics, By the Horns, I've been enjoying, and Count Draco Knuckle Duster also looks like it's going to be some fun. Finally, we're wrapping up. 7 pages. I'm saving Joe a lot of pain by doing this on my own. A couple things here. Money Shot by Tim Seeley. Vault definitely has its audience. I enjoyed that comic when it first came out very much, and it feels like the joke is over though. I'm ready for something a little new there now. The Van Helsing versus Invisible Woman promises to be some good fun gore and kind of Xenoscope thing. That hat doesn't look quite right in the picture, but overall pretty good. And Carpenter Tales, Sci-Fi Hell #4 has been a wonderful little comic. If you haven't checked that out, that is also by Storm King. Something you probably haven't heard about. Some pretty good sci-fi horror type things. Some good stuff there. And Valiant running with Shadow Man 2020, which again has lost a lot of momentum. All right, over in the world of manga, we've got, it's pretty tame. We've got Fairy Tail, of course, there. Boys Run the Riot. The guy looks like he's in some trouble. The Executioner and A Way of Life, which apparently is, The Way of Life is kind of crawling around on the bed with your school books. So that's fun. And Cirque du Freak. Okay, pretty solid. The second page, a little bit crazier stuff. Berserk of Gluttony. And I'm just going to call BS on this right now, because you look at this girl on the cover of this, and there is no gluttony. Like, that's completely inaccurately named. Records of the Bastard Magical Instructor. Sure, school sucks. I'm in love with the villainous, fun, and trapped in a dating sim, the world of Otome games. Sounds solid. So not the craziest anime week, but lots of material there. Definitely some good picks if you're into horror and sci-fi from the indies, as well as a couple comics from the big two to check out. And we wouldn't be complete for this week. We did not mention Diamond. Not Diamond. What do we do? Nobody's talking about Diamond. Dynamite. And Dynamite's giving you everything. We've got a half-naked girl with a baby and a demon. We've got a cosplayer hanging out by a tree. We've got another cosplayer who's curious if somebody's checking out her butt. We've got Vampirella riding around on a bat, clutching that bat and hanging on for dear life with her ass cheeks alone. A couple different things going on. And yes, Soniaversal, we get thick Red Sonja. So yeah, it really is. Whatever you're into, Dynamite has you covered next week. So that wraps it up. Into the month, huge month, way too many comics, but that's okay. Something for everyone. That's what we're learning. So let me know what you're buying and what you're interested in, what you got reserved in the comments below. Like and subscribe. And as always, of course, thanks for listening.